So the double integration method. So in this method, basically we are using this equation. This equation must be familiar: d square y by dx square equal to m by ei. Okay, this is the equation we are going to solve in the double integration method. So actually, even in the conjugate beam method or momentary method, everything is based on this equation only. The way you are solving is only different. Okay, the basics are same for all the method. That is why you are getting the same answer. So I will very briefly explain how this equation is coming. So you can this is actually you are starting from your bending, simple bending formula. Okay, pure bending formula you must have studied. Okay, simple bending formula. So okay, so what is simple bending formula? I will directly give the equations. Okay, then I will explain. So we have a relation between your bending moment, moment of inertia, bending stress, and the y, the distance from the neutral axis. So this is your pure bending formula. So what is this equation? It is, suppose we have a beam. Okay, we have a beam and there is some moment is acting. Okay, there is some loading is there. Okay, let us take some loading, something like this. So once you have some loading in the beam, what will happen? It is going to deflect. It will deflect like this. So it is going to bend like this. So once it is bent, there will be some bending stress, that is your F. So bending stress, that chapter we may discuss in separate class, but now I am starting from here. Okay, so that actually this deflection chapter, it should come after bending stress chapter. Okay, but I think you must be knowing at least this formula and basics of bending stress equation. How to find out bending stress you must be knowing. So I can start from here directly for this. Okay, so we'll discuss in detail maybe in some other class. Okay. Suppose if you have a beam of rectangle cross section, okay, so once it bend means there will be a neutral axis like this. Okay, so it is going to bend, like because of this bending there will be some bending stress. This y is the distance from the neutral axis. Okay, you measure the distance from the neutral axis, that is the y. In your problem we have to use y is the distance measured from the neutral axis. Suppose if you want to find out the stress value at this point, so you have to measure the y from the neutral axis to this point, that is the distance y, and E is the Young's modulus for the material, elastic constant, and R is the radius of curvature. So this is equation simple bending formula, or also we'll call it is pure bending formula. Okay, pure bending, simple bending or pure bending. So pure bending means we are finding out the bending stress. So in this case we are actually neglecting the shear force, effect of shear force we are neglecting. Suppose if you take some actual loading or some random loading like this, if we have a beam with concentrated load, there is some shear force, there is a shear force, and there is some moment. Your moment diagram is like this and shear force diagram is like this. That means if you take a section of the beam here, there is some value of shear force and there is some value of moment. So in general, if you have a beam at a section, if you take any section, there will be two internal force. One is a shear force and other one is the bending moment. There are two internal force if you take a beam element. Okay, one is the shear force and one is the bending moment. So but while finding out while finding out your deflection, we are calculating the deflection by using all these methods, but entire your deflection calculation is based on we are considering only the effect of your bending moment. So we are neglecting the effect of shear. So that is why, so even this equation also, it is a bending, this equation also we are neglecting the, we are considering the effect of only the only bending is there. We are assuming there is only bending, whatever the shear force may be there, but we are neglecting the deflection due to shear force, or we are neglecting the stress due to shear force. We are finding out only the bending stress purely. Okay, so in this equation if we have only if we have a pure bending condition, that means this is an example of a pure bending condition. We have a simply supported beam and at the two end you apply some moment. So what is the moment diagram for this case? Yesterday also we have discussed, this is the moment diagram, uniform value of m, if this is m, correct. So if moment is uniform, your shear force will be 0, because the shear force is the first derivative of your moment. So moment is constant, the derivative dm by dx equal to 0. The shear force diagram will be like this, 0 throughout the length of the entire span of the beam. The shear force will be 0, there will be only moment. So that means this is, I have taken an example of loading this two end moment. This is a pure bending condition. So beam is under pure bending, and now if you have a beam, it is under only bending moment is acting, then your beam is going to deflect like this. So the as per your simple bending theory, suppose you have a beam like this and there is only bending moment, so it is going to deflect like this. And in the pure bending condition, your deflected shape of your beam, okay, the deflected shape in this line, this dotted line, this is the deflected shape of your beam, or also we'll be calling elastic curve. Okay, elastic curve, this term you should be clear. Okay, the elastic curve or deflected shape, the deflected shape of the beam in the pure bending condition will be, this will be a part of a circle. Okay, this will be a part of a very large circle. Okay, the circle will be very large, but this shape, this curve, no, this will be a part of a circle, an imaginary circle. If we have a circle, there will be some center and there will be some radius, and the radius of this circle is called radius of curvature r. So this r is, I am not writing, radius of curvature. Okay, this, so I am repeating, if you have a pure bending condition, this deflected shape of your beam will be a part of a circle, part of an imaginary circle. So and the radius of that circle is known as this r, radius of curvature. Okay, this is the radius of curvature. So that is the first term in that moment equation. It is simply the bending moment at that section. It is the moment of inertia. It is a bending stress, and it is the distance from the neutral axis. It is the Young's modulus, and r is the radius of curvature. Okay. So again, and there is another term. Another term you should be familiar. Usually we will represent with phi. It is called curvature. Okay. So this r is the radius of curvature. Then what is curvature? So why I am telling is this relation, what you will call this relation, I will explain this. This m by ei is equal to d square y by dx square. This relation we will be calling, this is the equation or moment curvature relation. Okay, we will explain that. Okay, moment curvature relation. So now we have to understand what is radius and what is curvature. Okay, so the the term curvature. Okay, so the simple example I can explain with the help of an example. This must, you must be studying in your mathematics. Maybe in calculus, in calculus you will study this curvature, the expression for curvature and all you will study in the calculus mathematics. The simple example is, suppose if you have a two curve. First curve is something like this. Okay, and another curve is maybe like this. And if you take it as a part of a circle, it will be a small circle because of this the curvature. And if the curve is like this circle, it is clear that this circle is going to be very large. I think you can understand this. Suppose I have taken two curve. So if you see these two curve, so which will be having less radius? So this, the first one, the curve one, this will be having, this radius will be less r1. Okay, so this curve is a part of a large circle, so this radius is going to be more, r2. So the radius of curvature will be r1 will be less than r2 from these two curves. Okay, I have just given an example, AB, first curve, second is a small AB. So by looking at this curve, we can say that this curve, if it is a circle, it's part of a circle, this is going to have less radius r1, and this, for this curve r2 radius will be more. So r1 is less than r2. So now you see the curvature means it is the you can define the curvature. So if you want a definition, maybe you can write like this: curvature is the rate of, okay, rate of change, okay, rate of change of the slope. Okay, rate of change of slope, that is your curvature. So that means, suppose if you take a again I can, because you, if you take a beam, okay, it is going to bend like this. So what do you mean by the term slope? Theta. Suppose at the point A, what is the slope of this curve? How will you find slope of the curve? In essay also you have studied the slope of the curve at A will be, how to find, you draw a tangent here, draw a tangent here at the A. Okay, then you measure at this point, I want to find theta A. Okay, slope at A. Okay, so draw a tangent at that point, then you measure your so you start from your tangent, go up to the horizontal. This is the horizontal line at that point A. So go up to horizontal. This is your theta A. Suppose if you want to, if you have another curve like this or another beam like this, suppose if you want to find your slope at some this point, okay, so what you have to, you draw a tangent, same procedure, draw a tangent at that point, okay, then draw a horizontal at that point, then you measure the theta from tangent, okay, from tangent to horizontal. This is a theta at this point, okay, so that is your slope. So that is the meaning of the physical meaning of slope. How to measure it? You draw a tangent at that point, and then draw a horizontal, and then you measure the angle from tangent to the horizontal. That will give you the value of slope at that point. So if you take a point here, the slope will be maximum. From this curvature or curve, we can understand that if you take a point here, the slope will be again it will be reducing because the tangent will be coming something like this. The slope will be less compared to this point. That means at each point in this beam, deflected shape of the beam, at each point your slope is changing. Slope is continuously changing, not a sudden change. The slope is continuously changing, okay. So that the rate of change of slope will be known as curvature. So we'll be representing the term phi, okay. That rate of change of slope is called curvature, okay. So if you come to this curve, okay, AB and small letter AB, so where will be having the rate will be maximum. And if you this if you see this curve, it is not the curvature is less. Or you can easily understand that if you see this curve, it is like this, very small radius. So if you the change of slope, the rate will be more here compared to the second curve. So because this curve is very like very smooth curve, something like this, and first curve is like this. So here the rate will be more. Here I have this much slope, and here I have this, the change is more here. So from this we can say that the r1 is less than r2, okay, the radius is less, but curve, if you compare the curvature value, that is the phi1 is more than phi2. So the curvature will be more for this slope, this curve like this. The curvature will be less for this one, because here you can see the rate is less. The rate of change of slope is known as curvature. So from here both this we can understand that this curvature and radius is going to be inversely proportional. If you have less radius, your curvature will be more, okay. So that is why we are going to have a relation like this, where curvature is equal to 1 by r, okay. This curvature is equal to 1 by r. This relation is the this is the equation for the curvature in terms of your radius. So very simply you can understand from this relation, from this example, and the r is more, the curvature will be less. R is less, the curvature will be more. Curvature means the rate of change of slope will be more. So phi is the curvature of the beam is nothing but the reciprocal of your radius, okay. So this should be clear first, okay. So now we can take your pure bending formula, m by I equal to, from here you can write, if you take this first and third equation, we can write m by ei equal to 1 by r, okay. So you just remove this term, okay. I don't want this term right now. So m by I is equal to e by r. So m by ei equal to 1 by r. So what is 1 by r? Your curvature. So what is curvature? Rate of change of slope, okay. So what is rate of change of slope? That is, if you take a beam, okay, if you take a beam, again you take a beam. So with the help of example, that will be more easy. So you apply some loading, okay, apply some loading, it is going to bend like this, it will bend like this. So you define a coordinate, okay, you define a coordinate x and y. The x may be here, okay, this origin may be here. Okay, I can define like this also. It is your x, it is your y. The origin of the coordinate is at the support A. This I don't need, okay. So the beam, the deflection means the what is the vertical movement of the beam. This vertical movement, initially your beam is here, the yellow color, initially your beam is in this here. So once you apply some the vertical load, what will happen? It is going to bend. It is going to bend like this. The deflected shape or the elastic curve is shown here by a dotted line, white color, okay. So this displacement, this vertical displacement of the beam will be calling the deflection. Okay, that is called deflection, or deflection or vertical displacement of the beam, y. That usually will denote the letter y. So why? Because the x coordinate is along the length, along the span of the beam, and y is the vertical coordinate. Okay, so this y can be negative. Beam is moving in the downward direction. Okay, so this vertical displacement of each point of the beam is known as deflection. So what is the slope? We have already explained what we mean by slope. Okay, so beam is deflected like this. So if we want to find the slope at support A, we draw a tangent, and this is a slope. Okay, this is the slope theta. So what is theta? It is this angle. So this one I can write in terms of y. How will you write? What is the slope? That is the slope of this tangent. No, so it is called, we can write dy by dx differential form. The slope is this angle in radian. It is equal to dy by dx. So that is your slope. So now the curvature we have defined rate of change of slope. That means rate of change of slope, the change is along which direction? Change is along x direction, along the beam, along the length of the beam. What is the rate of change? That is what we are finding out. The curvature is rate of change of slope. Okay, rate of change of slope, that is equal to d by dx. With respect to what? The variable is x. Okay, we are varying the section along the length of the beam. We are moving. So what is the curve? D theta by dx, that is the rate of change of your slope, that is the curvature. So theta equal to dy by dx. So I can write curvature is equal to d square y by dx square, d square y by dx square. So now I can substitute this expression in here. M by ei equal to curvature. So I can write M by ei, it is equal to d square y by dx square. Okay, this is your equation. So this equation is this equation is known as moment. This M is moment, and this quantity is known as curvature. So it is known as moment curvature relation. Okay, so it is a form of a differential equation, right? Because d square y by dx square equal to M by ei. This M is a variable. At every section we have some different value of moment, so mx. So d square y by dx square equal to mx by ei. So this is a differential equation. Differential equation. What is the variable? What is the y? Differential equation for y. So what is y? Your deflection. So this one also we can call, this equation. It is a differential equation. Differential equation for elastic curve. Okay, differential equation for elastic curve of your beam. Okay, elastic curve of beam. Because we have a differential equation, and once you solve this differential equation, what you will get? You will get value of y. The solution of differential equation will give you y. So what is y? The deflection. So the deflection, if you know the deflection at each and every point, y1, if you know this y1 y2 all these values, I can define this curve. Because I know this y1, so this point I know, this point moved from here to here, this point has moved from here to here. So if you know the deflection y, that the meaning is I know this curve, where is this elastic curve is coming. So I can draw this the deflected shape of the beam, or the elastic curve of the beam. I will be able to draw it, and that is why we will be calling this equation is moment curvature relation, because m is the moment and this quantity d square y by dx square is called curvature. Also we can write the differential equation, and the differential equation for the elastic curve of the beam. Elastic curve is nothing but the deflected shape of the beam. Okay, this is your elastic curve. So this is the basic equation, or this is the starting point of your the double integration method. Because now I got the equation for the elastic curve, differential equation. You must have studied the differential equation, how to solve the differential equation. To solve the differential equation, we need some boundary condition. So I will explain what do you mean by boundary condition, and if you, with the help of boundary condition, I can solve the differential equation. And once I solve the differential equation, I will get the value of y. the deflection, and if you know the y, I can find out the slope also, because the slope is nothing but the dy by dx. Okay, so this is the starting point of your double integration method. This is the basic equation. So I hope you understood this equation. Very briefly I explained, but I have covered everything. This is the simple equation, the moment curvature relation. It is coming from your pure bending. Okay, this double integration, this equation coming from the pure bending, and using this equation we are finding out what deflection. So what is your conclusion? So what I am telling is the deflection equation we got, d square y by dx square, okay, it is equal to m by ei. This equation is coming from the pure bending. The pure bending means only effect of bending moment is considered. So if we solve this equation with the help of some boundary condition, we can solve the value of y. So y is deflection. So that means we are finding out the deflection. So actually we are finding deflection due to bending moment. So because of the shear force, there will be some deflection, but compared to the moment, that deflection value will be negligible. That is why while finding out the deflection in all the method, whatever the method you are using, the deflection you are getting, that is the deflection due to moment. But you see, if we given a question, suppose your question may be something like this: there will be some loading, there will be some shear force diagram also, there will be some value of shear force also, there may be some moment also. So we are finding out the deflection whatever the method we are taking. Okay, moment area method, conjugate beam method, we are finding out the deflection, we are considering only the moment, we are neglecting the effect of shear force in the deflection calculation. The shear force, because of this shear force there will be some extra deflection, but that deflection will be very negligible compared to the deflection of due to moment. So the total deflection you can say approximately that is the deflection due to only bending moment. Okay, so if you take any method, we are finding out the deflection, that we are considering actually only the moment, effect of moment only we are considering in the deflection calculation. Because even if we include the shear effect, we can find out the deflection due to shear also. Maybe you have to use some energy method, Castigliano theorem. If you use it, you can find out the deflection due to the shear force separately, but that effect will be very negligible. Okay, so that I can neglect this part. I can, because mainly this the beam is reflecting like this, it is because of the moment. Okay, so it is because of the moment, the deflection is because of the moment. So that is why all the method we are finding the deflection, only the effect of the bending moment will be considered. Okay, so now if we have this equation, okay, again go back to your moment curvature or differential equation. Okay, your differential equation. So I have this equation for, if suppose if you do the integration of this equation, if you do the integration of this equation once, what you will get, you can get equation for the slope, because the integral of your d square y by dx square. Okay, the integral of, you do the integration, what you will get, dy, it will become d square y by dx square. It will become if you do the integration once with respect to x, you will get dy by dx, it is equal to mx by ei. So mx I have written, m is a moment in the beam along. Okay, so m moment is a function of x. Okay, because if you take, if you vary the x means this is the origin 0, if you take some this point, this is the x. Okay, if you are varying x mean you can get the different section, the moment is varies along the x, as you are along the span your moment is varying, so the moment will be the function of your x. Okay, that is why this dy by, it will become dy by dx, and this will become integral of mx by ei, and once you do the integration there will be a constant of integration. Okay, and if you do the integration again, you do the second, it is the first integration, again you do the integration of this equation, it will become integral of dy by dx, it will become y. So that is equal to your mx ei plus c1 is a constant, it is a constant of integration, so if you do the integration it will become c1x, and plus second integration constant will come. So now we got the equation for the deflection in in terms of x. So only thing is we have two constant, I don't know the value of constant c1 and c2. So these two constant, okay, there is two constant of integration in this case, two constant of integration. So we, to solve this constant of integration c1 and c2, we have to use boundary condition. We have to use some boundary condition for the given beam. Okay, we have to use some boundary condition for the given beam. Okay, and the boundary condition means suppose a beam is given. Okay, a beam is given with some loading. So what you are finding out by entire process, ultimately I want to find the deflection value of y. But before before using any equation for a given beam, I know the value of deflection at some point. Okay, for some value of x, I know the value of y. So that known values are known as boundary condition. Okay. So suppose if you have a given simply supported beam AB. Okay. So one thing is already we know the support at support A the deflection is 0. Okay, suppose it is a 5 meter span beam. Okay, it is a 5 meter span beam. So our coordinate is like this, x and y. This is your origin 0. So if you have a simply supported beam, deflection at A is 0 and deflection at B also will be 0. These are the two known conditions in terms of deflection. So y A is equal to 0, that means at x equal to 0, x equal to 0 means you will get this support, your y is equal to 0. It is your first boundary condition, it is a boundary condition, and I also know the deflection at B is equal to 0. So this will be at x is measuring from origin 0 here, the length of the beam is 5 meters, so the x equal to 5 meter. Okay, x equal to 5 meter, your deflection is 0, it is your second boundary condition. So in terms of deflection, we can also write in terms of moment and all. We'll explain in the problem part. Okay. So like this, if we know the value of deflection priorly before solving the problem, I know the value of deflection at some selected point. In this case, in this example, I know the value of deflection at A and B. This known value of deflection, this that is known as the boundary condition. Because to solve a differential equation we have to apply some boundary condition. With the help of boundary condition only we will be able to solve the integration constant c1 and c2 in this case. That is the basic method. You will start from here, your the differential equation for elastic curve, and do the integration 2 times. You will get the expression for the slope and deflection, but there will be two constant of integration. It can be more than 2 also. Sometimes there will be a number of constant of integration, and those to solve to get the value of these constant of integration, so we have to use some boundary condition. The boundary condition will not be given in the question from the given beam, so we have to take the boundary condition by looking at the mainly looking at the support condition. And if it is fixed support, or if it is a simply support, or if it is free end, there will be some boundary condition, but some value will be 0 at that support. But if you have fixed support, there will be slope will be 0 and deflection also will be 0. I will get two boundary condition. But if you take a simply support, there will be deflection will be 0 and moment will be 0. That will be another boundary condition. Okay, the boundary condition does not mean that only the deflection, it can be in terms of moment also. Something you should know, some value will be known to you. At some value x, your y value will be known to you, or your moment value at that moment at that section is if you know already, or that can be a boundary condition. So those boundary condition we have to use to solve the integration constant. So once you get the value of c1 and c2, by simply substituting, it will be an equation in terms of x. So if you substitute the value of x, you can get the value of deflection at that point. Okay, like this you can solve the deflection at any point. The same similarly for the slope also. Okay, so that is the this is the procedure to solve the problem. Okay, so okay. Yeah. Suppose we have okay, I told you in the beginning, the double integration method is a straightforward method. Many times that method is very lengthy. Okay, with the help of conjugate beam method or moment area method, many problems we can solve very easily. Okay, but there will be some situations where you may not be able to solve the question by using conjugate beam method or moment area method, because all these methods are based on the moment diagram, right? So if you are unable to find out the area of the moment diagram or centroid, so then your moment area method or conjugate beam method, it will become very difficult, because that is entirely depends on your moment diagram. If you have a simple triangular moment diagram or simple parabola, you have the equation directly, you can find out the area of the moment diagram and all. Okay, so in that case you can use that method very easily. But some situation, if you find a suppose if you get a problem, if you are finding the moment, drawing a moment diagram, okay, if we are finding it is difficult, so in that case we can always go for, always you can think about the double integration method, because double integration method you can apply for any problem. Only thing is that will become lengthy many times. If you are finding a the easiest technique you have to remember, because sometimes you will confuse which method I have to use. The simple method is when you are finding a difficulty, okay, to draw a moment diagram. So at that case you cannot use the conjugate beam method, and you cannot use the moment area method also. So all those methods you can't apply. Okay, so in that case you have to go for the double integration method. So I think I will give an example of such loading. Okay, I will give a example of such loading. Suppose if we have a beam, okay, we have a simply supported beam AB. Suppose we have loading is something like this. This is your loading in the beam. So we have some loading. This is the loading acting in the beam. So this loading function I have defined. Okay, this loading is, it is not UDL or UVL. Those things you already familiar. Okay, this I am taking as loading function is something like this. It is a loading function W. It is equal to, I am writing in terms of sine function. Okay, so W I can write sine W equal W0 of sine of pi x by L. But thing is, double integration method means it is straightforward method. Okay, there is no confusion. So if you solve one or two problems, same method you have to apply for any problem, any loading, you have to apply the same procedure. There is some limitation that we will discuss after this. That is why the another method came, the extension of your double integration method, the Macaulay method. Sometimes you can't apply the double integration method directly, so we have to do some modification. That is your Macaulay method. Okay. Suppose if you have a beam like this AB, and this is a coordinate at the A, X and Y. Okay, so your loading is like this. That means your loading is we can call it as a sinusoidal loading. The meaning is, what is the meaning? This loading is not UDL. Means what is a UDL? UDL is a loading like this, where load intensity is uniform in the throughout the length. It is a uniformly distributed load, UDL. And if you have loading like this, it will be known as, it is a uniformly varying load. Your load is varying uniformly, linear variation. And if the loading is like this, it is a point load or concentrated load. Similarly, this is a loading function. The equation for the loading is given in terms of sine. So it is a sinusoidal loading. That means at x equal to 0, your load is 0. X equals 0 means at this point. And if you take at this section, you take this is your x, that much x is substitute, you will get some value of load. This is a variation of your loading. Okay, it is looking like a sine, it is looking like a your sine function will vary like this, no? That is why it looks like a parabola, but it is not a parabola. It is a, the load variation is a sinusoidal variation. So that's why we will be calling it is a sinusoidal loading. So the loading function is defined. I can find out the intensity of load at any point. Suppose I want to find the intensity of load at this point. You just take, this is x, the length is x, because this is the origin. X is the distance from this point to this point. So if you want to find this intensity, that will be, suppose if we want to find the intensity load at the center. Okay, the total span is L. At the center, it x equal to L by 2. So what is the intensity of the load? We can use the equation W equal to W0 of into sine of pi by L into x, x equal to L by 2. So it is L by 2. So L will be getting cancelled. W equal to W0 of sine of pi by 2. That is equal to W0. Okay, so what I am telling is, this is the sinusoidal loading. The load variation is sinusoidal. So this intensity at the center, L by 2 will be W0. This is nothing but the intensity of the loading at the center, and the variation of the load is as per this function. So you don't need to worry about the sine term and all. It is just a variation, like a UDL only. UDL means same value throughout. That is why we are simply writing W equal to W0. At every section, W0 is the value. But for this loading, at every section your load is keep on varying. The variation is not uniformly varying. Variation is as a sine function. Okay, that is the given load. Suppose if we get a question like this. So in this case you can't apply any other method. You have to go for the double integration method. So again, so we can, if you want to solve it, so it is your basic equation. So I have the differential equation for the any elastic curve. Because of this loading, this beam is going to bend something like this. The differential equation is d square y by dx square, it is equal to m by ei. Okay, so again, the next step is you have to go for integration, 2 times integration. If you do, you will get deflection. But thing is, moment, I have to write the equation for the moment. So even writing the moment equation, okay, even writing the moment equation for this loading is going to be very complex. Because if you take a section, you can take a section, how will you write the moment equation? If you take a section here at a distance x from this, then you have to find support reaction Ra into x minus this load intensity moment in the negative. That is your moment equation. So that so can I continue? Hello. Hello, can I continue the class?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm okay. So here in this course, in this loading case, okay. So you don't worry about this problem is difficult. It's not like that. So only, so I'm giving a specific, like I'm giving a condition where you can use only this method. Okay. We'll also explain one simple example also. Okay. So you just be there up to the end of the class. Okay. So in this case, the difficult thing is the procedure you must be knowing. So we have this differential equation. We just write the equation for the moment. Okay. There will be some condition for the loading in this method. Forget about that right now. So if you write the equation for the moment, then the procedure is straightforward. You do the first integration, you will get dy by dx equation, and you do the second integration, you will be getting equation for the y. So now your problem is over. But in this case, what is the difficulty? So to write a moment at this section x, that will be very much difficult, because this loading, you cannot write moment like a UDL or UVL. There you can easily write the moment equation very easily, but in this loading case you can't write the equation for the moment also. That is much more difficult. So what we have to do is, here we will simply replace the moment with a load function. So that for that I have to relate the loading and moment. So for that, again, we have to use your shear force moment diagram. Bending moment diagram, shear force diagram chapter, we have studied the basics, the relation between load intensity, shear force and moment. Okay. So if you, yesterday also we have discussed this, and dm by dx, if you take the derivative, you will get shear force. Okay. And df by dx, if you take the first derivative of a shear force, you will get the load intensity. So from here you can say your load intensity is df by dx. So I can write, so I can substitute f, for f I can substitute this value. So your w equal to df by dx, and f is equal to dm by dx. So it will be equal to d square m by dx square. So what I have done, w equal to df by dx, and f is equal to dm by dx, and if you substitute in place of f here equal to dm by dx, you will get the load intensity is the second derivative of your moment, that is a load intensity. Okay. So this is the one relation. Okay, load intensity is w equal to d square m by dx square. So I am going to use this one in this equation. For that, what you have to do, you take a derivative of this equation. So you do the first derivative, you will get d cube y by dx cube. Okay, it is equal to dm by 1 by, okay, so this will be equal to, I'm taking this term 1 by a separate. 1 by a, it is 1 by a into mx. So m is a function of, again remember, m is not a constant, it is a function of x. Okay, along this span your moment is varying, and that is what your moment diagram is representing. If you take any moment diagram, Okay, so your moment value is varying along the x direction in general. So the m, that means m is a function of x. What is the variable here? X. It is a section is varying along this length of the beam. So the moment is a function of x. Okay, so we can if you take the first derivative with respect to x, so d cube y by dx cube, it is equal to 1 by ei into dm by dx, correct. So, and if you do the derivative again, okay, you will get d raised to 4y by dx raised to 4, it is equal to 1 by ei into d square m by dx square. So now we can replace this d square m by dx square with load intensity w. The finally your the this is your the differential equation in terms of moment and curvature. So I can write the same equation. Here you replace with load intensity, so your final equation will become fourth order equation, d raised to 4y by dx raised to 4. Okay, it is equal to 1 by ei, so 1 by ei into load intensity. So this is a, so these two equations are same. Okay, these two equations are one and same. You see carefully what we have done. So it is your differential equation for elastic curve in terms of moment and curvature. So this equation, if you do do the differentiation two times, so the RHS will come 1 by a into d square m by dx square. So this quantity is nothing but your load intensity from basic relation. Okay, so this quantity is nothing but your intensity of the load. Okay, intensity of the load. So I can write this second order differential equation, I can write in terms of fourth order equation. Okay, so d raised to 4y by dx raised to 4 equal to w by ei. So what is w? This is the intensity of the load, so that is given already in the question. Okay, that is already given in this question. The intensity of the load is function of x. So here I should get a function of x like moment. So I got, that is already given, w equal to w0 sine of pi x by l. So now I can substitute this load intensity in place of w, that is a function of x, and then I can get the value of deflection from this equation. So how to get? We have to do the integration how many times? 4 times you have to do. You have to do the integration 4 times. Okay. So I think this is clear. So finally we got this equation from this equation only. Okay, it is not different, this equation is same. So if sometimes in it is elastic, it is equation, differential equation for the elastic curve, it is also the differential equation, but not but here only thing is we are replace the moment with load intensity, but both are function of x. Okay, this w also not constant, the load is varying with respect to x. So either it depends on the problem. Okay, depends on the given problem. If we can write the equation for the moment very easily, okay, without any confusion, if we are able to write the moment equation, you follow only this equation. And if you are finding difficulty, loading is very complex like this, where load is a sine function, so the moment diagram or moment expression is going to be very difficult. So in that case we can use this equation. This equation will be the starting point for your the double integration method. Okay, so that is a, so I just explained how this equation is coming. So now we can proceed for the solution. Okay, so this is your question, your beam AB. So beam AB and the loading is like this. So this load is W equal to W0 sine of pi x by L. So we got the equation, that is d raised to 4y by dx raised to 4. It is equal to W by EI. Okay, so this one is equal to W0 sine of pi x by L divided by EI. So EI is a constant, the product of Young's modulus and moment of inertia of your beam. So that product together will be calling flexural rigidity. Okay, the EI is known as the flexural rigidity. Okay, this is known as, just telling that term also. Okay, so EI is a term, the flexural rigidity. Okay, so EI, the together will be calling the product of Young's modulus and moment of inertia. So now to solve for, now we have to solve this equation. So I want to solve this differential equation this equal to this one. So to solve it, how to solve it, you have to go for the integration only. Solution means you have to do the integration. Okay, so the first we have to you can do the integration with respect to solve it, you do the integration. Okay, integrate with respect to x. Okay, integrate with respect to x, 4 times you have to do, then only we can solve this equation. The solve means solution means what is solution? A solution is y. To get y you have to do the integration 4 times. I think I will give some of the steps. If you do the first integration, it will become, this is there is no confusion, it is very straightforward method. Okay, simple integration only you have to do. Dqy by dx cube. First integration if you do, it will become dqy by dx cube. So what about this quantity? This w0 is a constant, w0 by ei. So only variable is we are doing with respect to x. The variable is sine of pi x by l. So the integral of the first integration means we are taking the integral of the LHS and we are taking the integral of the RHS. So once you take the integral of the LHS, you will get dqy by dx cube. Okay, and this integration, this w0 by e is constant. I think that is clear. So that is, you can take it out. So only the integration you have to do for the sine of pi x by l. So what is the integral of sine of pi x by l? That is minus of cos of pi x by l divided by pi by l. So I think it is clear. The integral of sine of pi x by l, that is minus of cos of pi x by l divided by pi by l. That is basic integration. Okay. So this, now your integration is over. There will be a constant of integration c1. So I think it is clear. So it is not it is w0 by ei into minus of cos of pi x by l in by pi by l plus c1. Just for simplicity I will write like this: w0 by ei, I am taking the negative here. Okay, otherwise we'll keep it here only. Okay, minus of cos of pi x by l into, it will be l by pi. Okay, you can also write here also, no problem, plus c1. Okay, so now again second integration, this is the first integration. You do the integration again, you will get d square y by dx square, it is equal to, so do the integration of this part. So again w0 by ei is a constant. So now we have to do the integration of minus cos of pi x by l. So what is that integration? That is into minus of sin x derivative is cos integral is sine, so minus is already there. So minus of, okay, minus of sine of pi x by l. Okay, so divided by pi by l. Okay, otherwise you don't write in this form, you keep this form only. Okay, so again a pi by l will be coming, divided by, so it will become pi by l square. Already one pi by l is there. If you take the integral of this cosine term, again one more pi by l will be coming, so it will become pi square by l square, or pi by l the whole square, plus c1 is there, c1 x plus c2. It is your second equation. Okay, so now again you have to do one more time to get dy by dx. If you do another third integration, you will get dy by dx equal to this, straightforward. Okay, there is no confusion, you have to keep on to the integration, that's all. So minus of sine of pi x, what is the integration of this one? Cos, it will become cos, the negative also will not be there, cos of pi x by l divided by, okay, don't worry about very lengthy and all, just understand the concept. Okay, here only the mathematical steps, don't worry about this. So plus c1, it is a x, so it will become c1 x square by 2 plus c2x. Okay, and plus another constant c3. So I told you sometime there may be two or more integration, sorry, constant of integration. In this case again we have to do one more integration, so then only we will get the equation for the y. So I will continue. I think this step is clear. Again there is no confusion. Minus sine of pi x by l, what is the integral? Integral of cos is minus sine, so it will, sorry, yeah, so derivative of cos is minus sign, so integral of minus sign is cos. So cos of pi x by L divided by pi by L, so it will become pi cube by L cube plus c1 x square by 2 plus c2 x plus the third constant of integration. So to get the deflection y, you have to do one more integration to get the deflection y. So next integration, if you do take the integral of this term, it will become y. So what about this term? It will be w0 by ei is a constant, w0 by ei, this cos, the integral of cos, so integral of cos will be sine, so integral of cos term, that will be sine, so it will become sine of pi x by L divided by pi q by L q will become pi raised to 4 pi L raised to 4. Okay, so that is the first term. Then here it is c1 x cube by 3, so it will become plus c1 x cube by 6. Okay, the integration will be c1 x cube by 3 into 2, so it will become c1 x cube by 6, and second term c2x, that will become c2 x square by 2. Okay, and c3 will become c3x and plus and fourth integration constant. So now I got, after the fourth integration, I got the expression for your deflection. So by using this equation, I can find the deflection at any point in this beam. Only thing is, I don't know the value of c1, c2, c3 and c4, so I have to solve for constant. So we have to solve for constant. To solve this for constant, we need 4 boundary conditions. If we have only 2 constant of integration, c1 and c2, in that case or in that question we have to use 2 boundary condition. Okay, so but here we have 4 constant of integration, c1, c2, c3 and c4, so that is why we have to use 4 boundary condition. So then you see the given problem. The given question is a simply supported beam. The given question is a simply supported beam. So the given beam is simply supported beam. So what is your boundary condition? So we have some loading. Suppose if you take it is A and if you take it is B, your deflection is A equal to 0. This is the first boundary condition. The second boundary condition is deflection at B equal to 0. That is the second boundary condition. And what is the remaining 2 boundary condition? Because I need 4 boundary condition minimum. Then only I can solve 4 constant of integration. So the third and fourth boundary condition will give you from the moment. So you know this is simply support. It is also simply support. So the moment at A is equal to 0, and also moment at B equal to 0. Okay, so this is third boundary condition. It is the fourth boundary condition. So now we have to make use of this 4 boundary condition to solve the value for integration constant. So how will you solve? How will you use this equation? Suppose if you take the first boundary condition, first we will apply the first boundary condition. So you just understand the same procedure only you have to do even if you get a simple example, simple problem, some simply supported beam UDL. If you want to solve from the moment double integration method, you have to follow the same method only. Okay, the procedure is going to be exactly same. The first I will apply the first boundary condition, that is deflection at A equal to 0. So what is the point A? So it is your coordinate x and xy. So A means the point A, deflection at A is equal to 0. That is the first, apply first boundary condition. Apply first boundary condition, that is deflection at A equal to 0. So what is that? That means at x equal to 0, your value of y is 0. That is the meaning, no? Because the A means at this point, the value of x at this point is 0. So at the value x equal to 0, your y value will be 0. That is the first boundary condition. That is what this boundary condition is. So you can apply this condition for this equation. The y is 0, so y is 0. 0 equal to x is 0. So once you apply x 0, this becomes sine 0. This term will goes to 0. C1 x cube, this term also will become 0. This term will become 0 and all the term will become 0. Finally you will have only 0 plus 0 plus another one and 0 plus C4. from this equation will give you this equation will give you the value of constant C4. The C4 is 0. Okay, so now we have to solve another another remaining constant integration. So you can use the remaining three boundary condition for that. Okay, suppose we have a boundary condition ma equal to 0. So what is ma? So we have the beam. Okay, so we have the beam AB. So moment at A equal to 0. That is your boundary condition, third boundary condition. So now I am applying third boundary condition. Okay, so moment at A equal to 0. That means at the value of x equal to 0, your moment is 0. So what is the moment? What is the relation between moment and this term d square y? Because moment you know, already you know the equation for the moment. That is, we are applying third boundary condition. M is equal to m by ei equal to d square y by dx square. Correct? Your moment curvature relation. So I can also write m is equal to ei into d square y by dx square. Okay. So when the moment is 0, or I will write here only. Okay, m by ei it's equal to d square y by dx square. When the moment is 0, your d square y by dx square will be equal to 0. Correct? Because d square y by dx square equal to m by ei. So the moment is 0 means your d square y by dx square is going to be 0. So that means this boundary condition x equal to 0, moment is 0. So this boundary condition will give you this condition, the x equal to 0 and d square y by dx square equal to 0. So now what you can do, I can apply this condition x equal to 0, d square y by dx square equal to 0 in equation number 3. I can apply the equation number 2, this equation I can apply. So what is your boundary condition? I am just writing here only x equal to 0, okay, x equal to 0 and d square y by dx square equal to 0. So very simple, if you apply this condition here, okay, it is 0, 0 equal to x is 0 means this term will become 0 plus c1 x 0 plus c2. So from this boundary condition 3, so what you will get, you will get the value of c2. C2 will be equal to 0. So now I have solved the second constant of integration c2. Okay, so first we got the value c4 is equal to 0 and now we got c2 equal to 0 from the third boundary condition. From this boundary condition I applied in this equation, because at this boundary condition x equal to 0, your moment is 0 and the moment is 0 means your d square y by dx square will be 0. So we apply x equal to 0 in this equation. 0 is equal to 0 plus c2. So you got the value of c2, the constant integration, from this equation. Okay, so now we can apply the remaining this is the span, no? The length of the beam is, span of the beam is L. Okay, so now we can apply the another boundary condition like this, yb equal to 0. Okay, the deflection at b equal to 0, that boundary condition is this one. If you take the second boundary condition, okay, so yb, deflection at b equal to 0, that means where is b? X equal to L, because x is measuring from here, so b means x equal to L. So x equal to L and your deflection value is 0. So now we can apply this condition in this equation. Okay, so I can apply this condition x equal to L, yb equal to 0. So I can apply this so I will try to write here. So y is 0, x equal to L. Okay, so it is W0 by EI into sine of pi x by L, x equal to L. So once you apply x equal to L here, what will happen? Pi L by L. So sine of pi will come. So this term is going to 0. Okay. So what we are doing, deflection y value can equal to substitute equal to 0 when x equal to L. So you take the value x in this equation is L and y is equal to 0. Only you have to do that much. Okay. If you do that, you will get 0 equal to, this sine term will become 0, because once x equal to L, this will become sine of pi L by L. So this L will be getting cancelled, it will become sine pi. Sine pi is 0. So this is 0 plus, and second this will be C1. Okay, C1 into L cube. Okay, C1 into this x is L, so it will become L cube by there is no space. Okay, L cube by 6 plus C2 into L square by 2 plus C3 into L plus C4. C4 is already 0. So now if we see, okay, here I will get a okay, C2 also already 0. So from this, in this equation you will get a this term will be 0 already, C2 is 0, and so here you will get equation C1 L cube by 6, okay, plus C3 L, so that is equal to 0. That is the equation you are going to get from here in terms of C1 and C3. You will get a one equation. So now we have to take the other remaining other boundary condition, moment. Okay, you can take the moment at b equal to 0. So again you choose this equation. Okay, so this will be 0 when moment is 0, this will be 0. So you can take if you take this equation, okay, if you take this equation and if I apply in this boundary condition, it will become this is 0 0 equal to, okay, I think I have, so it will become 0 equal to again x equal to L, this sign term will become 0. Okay, 0 equal to 0 plus C1 into x. Okay, x is L, C1 into L, okay, plus C2 already we got the value, C2 already we got, so it is 0. Okay, so actually what you have to do is what I am telling is once you take this boundary condition, deflection at b equal to 0, so I got an equation here, C1 L cube by 6 plus C3L, okay, equal to 0. So we have one equation and two unknowns, C1 and C3, but the value of C1 you can solve from here itself. I can take this boundary condition, the moment at b equal to 0, apply it to this equation. The moment at b is 0 means this is 0 equal to this will become 0 when x equal to L, 0 plus C1L plus C2 already 0. So from this again you will get C1 is already 0, everything is 0 actually, C1 also 0 we can get from this, and finally there will be only one constant integration, that is C3. So now we can get the value C3 from this equation. C3, oh yeah, C3 also will become 0 in this case, because we got C1 is 0 from this equation. I will give the solution, okay, don't worry, I will give the detailed solution, I am just explain the procedure. So in this example what happened is all the constant of integration, everything will become 0. Okay, C1 C2 C3 C4 everything is 0, you just sit and write properly, you will get, if you have any doubt right now. Okay, so finally in this question you will get all the constant of integration will become 0. So once you take C1 0, this term will cancel, this will cancel, this will, everything will get cancelled. Okay, finally in this question, okay, your question was this one, simply supported beam with sinusoid loading. Okay, so this was the question, W equal to W0 of sine of pi x by L. Your final differential equation, y will become y is equal to W0, okay, W0 by EI into sine of pi x by L, sine of pi x by L divided by pi raised to 4 by L raised to 4. Okay, so this will be the final equation, because C1 0, C2 0, C3 and C4 all the constant of integration will become 0, but we got the value of for constant of integration from the boundary condition. You must have understood what is the boundary condition, so we have to take as per the given problem. Okay, so this will be the equation of your deflection. So now if you know the, suppose if you have a beam of span 6 meter or L is equal to 6 meter, and if you want to find deflection at any point, let us say you have to find deflection at a point, at this point 2 meter from support A. So what you have to do, y is equal to deflection at this point, take this point as C, the deflection at point C is W0 by EI into sine of pi into x is 2 by L is 6 meter. Okay, so divided by pi raised to 4 by L is 6, so 6 raised to 4. So your W0 by EI, okay, so it will become sine of pi by 3 by pi raised to 4 by 6 raised to 4. So what I am telling is, once you have the equation for the deflection y, so now you have, your problem is solved. If you substitute any value for x, okay, if you substitute any value for x, You will be able to find the deflection at that point from by using this equation. Okay, so you can use that equation once you get the equation. Okay, once you solve the constant integration, that means you got the equation for the deflection. Now you can find easily deflection value at any point. Simply substitute the value for x, you can find out the deflection at that point. Okay, so this is how this is the procedure to solve the problem. Okay, by using the double integration method. So simply write the equation for the moment, and if you are finding difficulty to find out the moment equation, so you have to start from the load equation in terms of load intensity. So that after that you have to do the integration maybe 2 or 4 times till you get a equation for the deflection y. So in that y equation you will be having 2 or 4 constant of integration, and those constant you have to solve from the given boundary condition. Okay, so this is some method. Okay, this is how we have to solve the question by the double integration method. And suppose if I think I should take one at least simple example. Beam. Okay, we have a cantilever beam with some UDL. Okay, that is simple example, because the previous example is the procedure is clear, but that problem looks complicated, no? So don't worry about that. Okay, so suppose we have a simply supported beam of span L, sorry, cantilever beam of span L. Okay, the load intensity is W. So again, suppose if you want to solve this question, means if you apply load like this, what will happen? It is going to deflect, beam is going to deflect like this. There will be some deflection at the free end. Suppose if you take B, it is A, so this is the deflection at B, YB. A beam, cantilever beam will deflect like this. Okay, it will deform, deflect shape will be something like this. So there will be some value slope at this point. To get this slope, you draw a tangent at that point B and draw a horizontal, and this anti-clockwise, this angle is theta B. So I want to solve what is the value of YB and what is the value of theta B by using the double integration method. Okay, so the procedure is, you know the equation, the starting equation, d square y by dx square is equal to m by ei. This is your differential equation. So now in this case you don't need to worry about the moment, you can easily write the equation for the moment. So it is a moment equation mx. Okay, so first step is you have to take a section. Okay, you have to take a section in the beam. This is your beam. Okay, of span L. So you take a section in the beam, you take a section like this at the from the free end you can take, or you can take from the fixed end also, whichever you like you take. I am taking the section x from at a distance x meter from the free end B. Okay, so what is the equation for the moment at this section m xx? That moment equation is symbol, this will create a this is, it will create a hogging moment, right? It is a hogging moment, so this moment equation will be W minus Wx square by 2. Okay, so we have a sign convention. Okay, that I forgot to tell. So whenever you are using this equation, your sign convention is as usual, like sagging moment is positive, hogging moment is negative. That is your sign convention for the writing the while writing the moment equation. Keep in mind, whenever writing the moment equation, if the moment is sagging moment, then you have to keep a negative sign, and the moment is hogging moment, you have to keep a positive sign. So this cantilever beam, obviously it is a hogging moment. Okay, so because it will create a moment like this, because of this UDL the moment is like this. Also you can see the deflector shape. Okay, also you can see the deflector shape of your beam. This is the beam, this is the elastic curve, this line. Okay, this is a curve like this, it is a curve like this only. That means it is a hogging moment. The beam is, it is a hogging moment. The bending is, the moment is negative. That is why the moment equation is simple. W is the intensity, x into x by 2 minus W x square by 2. So now the step is very clear. You take that equation d square y by dx square, okay, is equal to mx. Mx is minus of W x square by 2 all divided by ei. Okay, this is your differential equation. So now to solve for y, you have to do the integration 2 times, because my starting equation is second degree equation. So I have to do the integration 2 times to get the deflection. So if you do the first integration, it will become, this problem is simple, so dy by dx equal to, okay, I am taking this ei term also here, okay, it is equal to minus w by 2, okay, minus w by 2, the x square will become integration x cube by 3 plus a constant of integration. So now you do the integration, second integration, ei into y is equal to minus, it will become minus w x raised to 4 by 4, 4 into 2 8 into 3 24. So this will become wx square x raised to 4 by 24 plus c1x plus c2. Very simple. Okay, first you take this equation, this is the procedure for any problem. Okay, so you take the equation and write the moment equation. To write the moment equation, you take a section, okay, at a distance x from your reference point b. So write the equation with sign, negative sign for holding moment. So once you have got this equation, you do the first integration, first constant integration will be coming, and do the second integration, you will get ei into y, so it's equal to, in this form, c1x plus c2. So now I have two constant of integration, okay. To solve this constant of integration c1 and c2, I should c1 and c2, I have two constant integration in this deflection equation, c1 and c2. So to solve it, we need two boundary condition, okay, two boundary condition. So what are the boundary condition for a fixed beam? The boundary condition is purely depends on the support condition, okay. The fixed beam means one end is fixed and other end is free, okay. So that means if we draw the deflect shape, you can also see the deflect shape will be something like this, okay, it will be something like this. That means at the fixed end a, if you take the, if you're calling it is a, fixed end is a, at the fixed end your deflection y will be 0. Not only the deflection, your slope also should be 0. So dy by dx also will be 0. So in this question, this is your first boundary condition, the deflection at the fixed end is equal to 0, and second boundary condition is moment is not 0, it is a fixed end. So second boundary condition is your slope at fixed end will be 0. That is your second boundary condition. So to solve this equation, we have to use these two boundary conditions. Suppose if you are applying the first boundary condition, okay, you take the first boundary condition, that is deflection is 0. That means at x equal to 0, y is 0. That is your first boundary condition. Sorry, x is not 0 in this case, because we measured x from fixed end, right? So you have to be careful. Again, you because okay, previous example I take this as a reference point, your coordinate origin. So here you have to see how we are writing the moment equation, okay, how we are writing the moment equation. While writing the moment equation, I measured x from this point, okay. So that means x is 0 at this point. When you want to find something at this at point a, your x will be equal to L. So the deflection at a is equal to 0. That boundary condition is x equal to L, okay. So that boundary condition is not this one, ya, deflection at a is equal to 0. That means at the value, whenever the value of x equal to L, your deflection is 0, okay. So this is your first boundary condition, and second boundary condition is at x equal to L, your dy by dx, okay, equal to 0. That means suppose if you take this equation, so this is 0, I am taking the second boundary condition, okay. First it is 0 equal to x is L, so it will be minus of w L cube by 6, okay, minus of w L cube by 6 plus c1. So from this I have applied the second boundary condition to this equation, the slope equation, because second boundary condition in terms of slope. So you take the equation for this slope is equal to 0 equal to minus WL cube by 6 plus C1. So from this we can solve C1 equal to WL cube by 6. That is the value of your C1. So now we can apply the second boundary condition, x equal to L, y is equal to 0 in the second deflection equation. So it is equal to 0. It is minus of W, x is L raised to 4 by 24 plus C1 into L. C1 is WLQ by 6, so we can apply WLQ by 6 into C1, sorry, into L plus C2. Okay, so this one you have to solve. If you solve it, you will get the value of C2. So you will get the value of C2. Okay, so you will get what is the value of C2 in this case? WL raised to 4 by 24 minus WL raised to 4 by 6. Okay, so that is okay. So I will do here the C2 equal to, from this equation I can get the value of C2. Okay, so it is W L raised to 4 by 24. Okay, so minus WL raised to 4 by 4 by 6. Okay, so this is the value of C2. So if you solve it, you will get, so I can make it 24. So this is multiply with 4, 24. Okay, so 4, so it will become 1 minus 4 minus 3 WL raised to 4 by 24. So C2 is equal to minus WL raised to 4 by 8. So now I got the value of C2 is this value, and C1 is WLQ by 6. Okay, WLQ by 6. So now we got the value of C1 and C2. So now we can write the equation for the deflection. Y is equal to, okay, so y is equal to minus Wx raised to 4 by 24 plus C1x. Okay, plus C1x, that is C1 is WLQ by 6 into x plus C2 plus C2. So C2 is minus WL raised to 4 by 8. So now your beam is this one. This is your beam. The loading is UDL, and x is measuring from here. This is very important. Okay, otherwise your boundary condition will be wrong. Suppose if you are taking the boundary condition deflection t is equal to 0, x equal to 0, y is equal to 0. If you apply like this, everything will be wrong, because your x, y, the coordinate is defined when you are writing the moment equation. Okay, moment I have find out at this section from by measure from this from this point B. Okay, so x is measuring from free end, not from the fixed end. Okay, so this is the point we are measuring from fixed end. So finally what you have to find out, deflection at B, that is your question, and slope at B, that is your question. So that means to get the deflection at B equal to deflection y at x equal to 0. For x equal to 0, you will get this point. So substitute x equal to 0, this will become 0 and it will also become 0. So you will get minus WL raised to 4 by 8. Okay, so there EI is there, so it will become WL raised to 4 by 8 EI. This is the equation for the deflection at the free end. And if you want to solve the slope theta b, okay, theta b, so you have to choose this equation. Theta b, slope dy by dx equal to minus wx by 6. It is equal to minus wx by 6 minus wx by 6 plus c1. Okay, plus c1. What is c1? WLQ by 6. So your theta b, that is nothing but your dy by dx. Okay, dy by dx at x equal to 0. Substitute the value x equal to 0 in this equation, you will get positive WLQ by 6. So this is the value of your slope at the free end, and it is the value of your deflection at the free end. So now we have to see again sign convention. So your this is the value of your deflection and it is the value of your slope, and we got a negative sign here and we got a positive sign here. So that means this was your question, right? This is your question. Simply support cantilever beam with some load W. How it is going to deflect? Your deflection is like this. The deflector shape or elastic curve of the beam will be like this. So this is your deflection, that is in the downward direction. From the loading, it is clear that it is going to be downward. And what is the slope at this point? What is the slope at this point? You draw a tangent here, okay, and then draw a horizontal here, then measure from the tangent to the horizontal. So this theta is theta b, it is anti-clockwise. Okay, it is anti-clockwise. That is the direction. Okay, so what was your sign convention whenever you are using this equation? Suppose I am taking the sagging moment is positive, m by a. So here your sagging moment was positive, hogging moment is negative. Okay, if you are keeping this sign convention, and finally we got the value of deflection yb is equal to negative wl raised to 4 by 8ti. Okay, and deflection at b is slope at b is equal to wlq by 6ci. Okay, so mainly for your deflection. And if you are using this sign convention, sagging moment if you are taking as positive and hogging moment if you are taking negative, then if you solve this equation, if you are getting y is negative, if you are getting a y value is negative value, that means your deflection is in the downward direction. Okay, the deflection is in the downward direction. That is the meaning. This should be clear, because sometimes we will not be able to see like this from this question, or before solving you will be knowing, okay, this deflection will be downward, it is clear that. But sometimes suppose if you are loading like this, suppose you have a simply supported beam and we have some maybe concentrated moment or something like this. In this case, if you solve this equation, how the beam is going to bend, it will bend something, bending will be something like this. This will be the deflected shape, and if you are finding the deflection at this point, this will be downward, and this point deflection will be upward. And if you are using the moment double integration method correctly, if you use it correctly, you will get this deflection by y value, you will get negative. Okay, and this y you will get positive. So whenever you get a y is positive, that means your deflection is upward, above this uh, above this level. Okay, and if your deflection negative, your deflection negative means your deflection will be downward direction, provided you are using this sign convention and if you are using this equation. Okay, and sometimes in your some of the textbook they will use this equation, d square y by dx square is equal to minus m by ei. Okay, some of the textbook you will find the equation itself there is a negative sign, but the sign conversion will be same. Sagging is positive, okay, and hogging is negative. So if you are using this equation and if you are following the same sign convention, what you will get? You will get deflection is positive for a downward deflection. This should be clear. Otherwise, you will get confused sometimes. Okay. And if in your equation if you are keeping a negative sign already, then you are applying sagging moment is positive and hogging is negative. Then for the downward deflection, you will get a positive, because this negative will become a positive because of this negative sign. So this sign convention should be clear, okay, before solving it. Okay, so I used to follow this equation and with this sign convention. So that means your y value will be negative if it is downward. Okay, and if you are getting a positive means your deflection will be something like this, upward deflection. Okay, so this is very simple example I have taken, and this is a method. You can solve any question. Okay, okay, you can even if you have some other question like this simply supported beam with UDL. So everybody can solve this question. Okay, again you look at this equation. The starting point is this equation, d square y by dx square. It is equal to mx by ei. Okay. So only thing is what is the limitation of this method? I think after telling that one we can wind up the class, I think. Okay. So thing is this, I should be able to write the equation for the moment. Okay. So I should be able to write the equation for the moment. Then only we can use the double integration method. For that the limitation or some the condition is the limitation. Okay, what is the limitation? First one we can say, your loading should be continuous. The loading should be continuous. So loading should be continuous. So loading should be continuous. So then only we can apply the double integration method directly. Okay, the continuously means the loading should be whatever the loading you have in your beam. Suppose if you take a beam here, if you take a beam, I have a UDL. Okay, I have a UDL in the entire beam. So once the loading is started, it should be there till the end of the beam. But sometimes suppose if a loading is like this, suppose your loading is like this, so find out deflection at some point. Okay, it is going to deflect something like this, and we have to find deflection at some point. So this loading is not continuous, it is discontinuous, because the loading started from here, or loading is only there up to this point. After this there is no UDL. So in this example, in this question, you can't apply the moment this double integration method directly. The reason is, if you take section here, if you take a section here, so you will get an equation for the moment. The equation for the moment at this section is equal to, we have some reaction Ra, it is A, it is B. Okay, so what is the equation for the deflection at this section? Within this UDL, if you take any section, your equation for the moment will be Ra into X, correct? Ra into X, X means this distance, Ra into X minus your UDL, minus W X square by 2. But this equation is valid. Suppose if you take this point C, this equation is valid only in the segment AC. So once you cross this section AC, suppose your section is here in CB, okay, so this is X now, and here this equation is not valid. Okay, their equation will be maybe something different, mx2. Your moment equation for this section will be Ra into X minus, so the UDL, you already have completed the entire UDL. Suppose if you take this length as small l, okay, so what is the moment equation at this section x2? That is Ra into X. X is the distance from this support A to the section, so minus UDL moment. UDL is total W into L, so W into L, that is the total load. It will be acting at the L by 2 from here, right? L by 2 from here, so your distance will be X minus L by 2, right? So this equation will be WL into, okay, X minus L by 2. So this equation different. This is equation for the moment in the segment CB. Okay, so in the segment AC you have one equation, and another segment CB we have another equation, right? So this equation is not directly, you can't use it. So that is why this is it is because of this one, the loading is discontinuous. In this case the loading is discontinuous. So we can use only if it is simply supported beam. If we have a UDL, it should be there in the entire span. Then only you can apply the double integration method directly. So the loading should be continuous. That is a limitation. That is why to solve such problem, even though we have okay, so even though we have the beam with discontinuous loading condition, still you can use the double integration method, but thing is you have to modify a little bit. You have to modify the method slightly. Okay, that is the your second method, Macaulay's method. In the Macaulay's method, we are going to do the same procedure only. For example, suppose if your loading is, we'll take the same loading. Okay, we'll take the same loading like this. Suppose this is your question, and we have UDL only some length. After that, I don't have any loading, or I don't have the UDL. So to solve it, what you have to do is to use this equation. Okay, to use this equation, moment curvature relation, or this mx by ei. To use this equation, my loading should be continuous. For that, we will do very simple things. I will just simply add some load. Same value of load I will add here. Same intensity of load I will be adding here, and also I will add some load here also. Okay. So what I have done, this is only actual beam is something like this. After that I don't have any loading. But to make it continuous, okay, first to use this equation, your loading should be continuous. Okay, loading should be continuous, but your loading is discontinuous actually. So to make it continuous, you just continue this load till the end of the beam, and then also add the same intensity load in the upward direction. So net effect is this one, this UDL and the UDL below that. Okay, this UDL white color and this UDL, these two will get cancelled, and finally this will be a net effect will be zero, this white color load, because these two will get it will get cancel each other. But to write a simple equation, to write a single equation for both the section. Okay, so because we have seen here we have seen, where was that, yeah, so here we have seen this equation is AC I have one equation, and CB I have another equation. So this directly I cannot write a single equation. Then I actually, to solve it, what you have to, you write a single equation for the moment, then you do the integration two times. That is the procedure. Okay, that is the only procedure you have to follow. But here that procedure is not possible. That I can't do directly because the loading is not continuous. It is just discontinuing after this point. So to make it continuous, you have to apply equivalent opposite UDL like this for this example, so that it will become continuous. So now I can write an equation for a I can write a single equation for the entire beam. Okay, so for that, what you have to do is, first you make your loading continuous, then Macaulay's as per your Macaulay's method. Okay, so this method, so we can use this method even though your loading is discontinuous. We will do like this for to make it continuous. Then take an end section. You take an end section. Okay, take an end section. Okay, so end section means you take a section where the effect of all the load is coming. Okay, effect of all the load is coming, you take a section there, then write the equation for your moment. Suppose here we have Ra and this is your X. So I will not take a section here, so I will take a section to write the moment equation at the end section. So if you take a section here, the effect of all the three UDL will be coming. In this case, if you take a section here, only this yellow color UDL, only that term will be coming, only that effect will be there. But instead of that, in Macaulay's method, you write an equation for the moment at the end section. Okay, write an equation for the moment at the end section, and then you write the equation for the moment. Okay, after that you can use this equation. But there is some extra things we are using, that um, some function we are using. I think I have singularity function, something I have given in the note. There is some there is one more difference is there. While solving it, I will explain it. Okay, that so this is the first, this is a limitation only. I think I have to conclude. Okay, so the limitation for the double integration method is, your loading should be continuous, otherwise you can't apply the double integration method. Even though the beam with point load, you can't solve it. Suppose if you have a simply supported beam, okay, and with point load, so it will be very difficult to solve by using the double integration method, because see, the moment equation will be different. If you take a section here, your moment equation will be only Ra into X. But if you take a section here, this is your X, so your moment equation will be Ra into X minus, you have this load W into suppose if you take it is load is at the center, this will be W into X minus L by 2. So even is either the loading is like this only for some length of the beam, and suppose, and even you have a concentrated load, then also you can't apply the double integration method. You can solve it, but that will be very difficult, because you have to match the two condition, this equation, this equation. You are going to get two equation for that. This equation you have to apply two times with a different mx equation, and finally you have to match that two result at this junction. So that process will be very lengthy. Okay, so that is why in such questions we can very easily we can modify that method by the Macaulay's method, and then you can solve it. I think if you want to explain it, I have to take an example, then only you will understand completely Macaulay's method. With the help of an example only I can explain. Okay, so that will take, anyway it will take time. So like this, I've given an example problem, then I explain procedure. So like this I can explain the Macaulay's method. If you understood one example, you can solve any question. There won't be any problem. Okay.